first and foremost, when I say cut the noise, now you know what I mean. It's all this noise in the world and all this noise in your head that's preventing you from doing the 20% of things that you need to do to get 80% of the results. Hey, so I started working on this book to document my health and fitness journey back in like 2015, 2014. And I wanted to share, and mostly so that I don't forget some of the things that I've learned along the way. What I started to think was, if I can do this with health and fitness, why can't I do it in other areas of my life, such as wealth creation and relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Now, at that time, I was had student loans, a car loan, credit card debt, medical bills, et cetera, et cetera. You name it, I had it. So I utilized some of the same principles to figure out how to get out of debt, save 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then go from there. So I thought to myself, whoa, can I do this in other areas as well? And that's when I found that there are 3 major things that really helped me kind of along the way. And the first thing I noticed was that these things are actually really simple. Our health journey is actually pretty simple. We as humans just make it very difficult. Wealth creation is actually pretty simple. It's been done before. We're not inventing something new, but we as humans, again, make it very difficult. The second thing that I found was that the 80-20 rule, so Pareto, however you want to say, rule really applied pretty much everywhere that you look. And that means that 20% of the things that you do produce about 80% of the results. It's not going to get you all the way, such as LeBron early in his career. Shout out LeBron, love you. But it's going to get you most of the way, and then you have about 20% left. So the third and final thing that I really saw was that everything was interconnected, meaning that the way that you do one thing is most likely how you do everything in your life. And these things became key and the foundation of me developing this method or this way and perspective of thinking that I'm going to share with you now. I hope you are ready. So what is the problem? I present to you that one of the problems is that there's so much noise in the world that you can't focus on the 20% of things that you need to do to bring 80% of the results that you want in life. The first 2 types of noise. The first one is the noise in the world. So you wake up, there's IG, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TV, there's magazines, there's books, there's podcasts, there's all types of stuff. And that's just the stuff that you can process in your mind. We're not even talking about the subconscious stuff that's going on. Noise number 2 is the noise in your head. You're constantly, if you're anything like me, constantly looking for holes in people's arguments so that you can agree or disagree, so that you can say they're right, they're wrong, or so that you can just move on and just cut the rest of the stuff out. Is this even for me? Is this funny? Is this not funny? Do I like this? Do I not like this? You're constantly doing that in your head. And if you don't believe me, take 15 seconds just to listen to it and let it talk. Ready? Go. The first thing it probably said is, what noise, what voice, what is he talking about? Why am I even listening to this? I present to you that you have zero control over this and are constantly doing this. All of the noise is going on in your head. So like I said, all that noise in the world and all that noise in your head keeps us from focusing on the 20% of things that we really need to do and do well and do consistently to get 80% of the results that we want. For example, let's go back to health. When someone asks me about how do I get in better shape, or how do I change my life, or how do I create a better lifestyle, I tell them 2 pretty basic, simple things. First and foremost, eat good food from the earth. Secondly, go ahead and move at least 30 minutes every single day. Now, you don't need an MD or you don't need a personal trainer to tell you that. But what's that noise and that voice in your head tell you? It tells you that, you know what, my schedule is really busy. I get home pretty late. I can't prepare my food. You know, I'm just going to have to buy some food out. Or, you know, that doesn't look fun. And that doesn't taste good. I don't want it. Da 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 blah 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 blah. Keeps going on and on and on and on. And what ends up happening? You don't do those 20% of things that you need to do to see 80% of the results. Not rocket science. And then you see a man or a woman who's doing just 100 push-ups a day, 100 pull-ups a day, 100 jump squats, or working on the legs and eating good food from the earth, and they look great and they feel great and they move around, and then our minds are just blown, as if it's some crazy thing that they're doing, but they're really not. They're doing the things that you know how to do, but you're letting that noise in your head distract you from focusing on it and getting it done. You think, oh man, that's no fun, or that's so extreme, or that looks like it hurts, or even worse, and this is one I hate, even worse, we try to make fun of people that are doing these things to try to bring them down so that we feel better about ourselves. Does this game sound familiar? Yeah, I play it too. We all do. So what do? Problem number 2, and this one is big. I don't want to hear about your conspiracy theory talk because these are straight facts. Listen, our educational system is not set up to produce individuals that know how to live a healthy, happy, prosperous life. In fact, it's set up to produce, originally at least, produce good factory workers. Now we produce good factory workers that have really cool offices in the corner of really big buildings. That's awesome. Love it. But what happens when you graduate from college? For most of us, you come out with student loans, you come out with debt, you come out with credit card debt, car loans, home loans, etc., etc. Now, guess what? You need that job that you pretend to love so much. And even better, you're in a situation now where that job is draining you and you don't know what to do because you never learned about any of this stuff in this beautiful educational system. For example, think about this. How can you go to years and years and years and years of school to become a surgeon, but you don't know how to balance your checkbooks or create a zero-sum budget? How can you go to school for so long to become an attorney, but you have no idea how to have healthy relationships with your spouse, your friends, your family, etc.? How can you go to school for years to become a prolific writer, yet you can't communicate on a basic skill, on a basic level, you can't communicate with people? I'm just asking the questions. I don't have the answers. So where do we learn these skills? I hear people say all the time, man, I wish I'd learned that in school. In fact, I've said it multiple times myself, and that's why I got on this journey, and that's the things that I began to really see, and that's what motivates me and causes me to speak so passionately in a camera and have you leave all type of comments on. Love it. Problem number 3 I present to you, ladies and gentlemen. We are conditioned to assume things. So, for example, you see somebody dressed really well, hair slicked back or whatever you want to, whatever, great car, drives into a parking lot, pulls up, goes into a great office. You're thinking, man, that person is really doing well. They must have a lot of money. They must know what they're doing. And yet they go home and cry and their wife sleeps in the other room. Ever seen it? I have. Again, we are conditioned to assume things and not to have our own thoughts or to actually dive deep beyond the surface and ask the tough questions. For example, as a child or in middle school, high school, or even now, how many times do you talk to anyone who's just simply regurgitating stuff they heard on the news or stuff they got from their parents? They barely have opinions of their own. They don't know how to think. They just know how to regurgitate. That is how the system works. That is how all of this stuff works. And that is why I present to you the information that I'm presenting to you right now. One of the biggest disasters that I see is that we stop asking questions to children because we're forced to. We are taught to ask the right type of questions. And these are questions like, Mr. Heatapole, how do we do the 2 times 2 table of the da-da-da-da-da-da? Nonsense. I don't want to hear none of that. You're not asking questions about, hey, why do I feel so terrible at night, right? Hey, why do I not want to go to work in the morning? Or, hey, why do we all joke that Mondays suck? It's not funny, because they do, because everybody hates going to work. I'm not saying don't go to work. Please go to work. Keep getting them paychecks. Love it. You already know. No, please actually keep getting those paychecks. But remember why you feel the way you feel. So I have outlined for you 3 of the problems that I see. Right. I'm not saying I have solutions. I'm just asking the questions so we can start a conversation and actually start talking and thinking about these things. For those of you who are still listening to this and that voice in your head or that noise in your head is asking, all right, what's the point? What's the answer? Give me. Am I doing this right? First of all, take a deep breath. Go ahead and watch the rest of the video and quiet that voice down. But I have something to propose that helped me that maybe will help you as well. And I call it CBC. I actually don't call it that. I just made it up because those are the first letters. Just work with me here a little bit. First and foremost, if you are sick, You don't go directly to a foot doctor or an eye doctor or a hand doctor. What you do is you go to a general physician, and that general physician will go ahead and check you out, see where they think the problem is, and if need be, they will refer you out to an expert. So when you don't have a foundation already built in, for example, you don't have a health foundation, you came out of college, you were an ex-athlete or you weren't, and you don't know how to train yourself or how to live a healthy life or this 20% of things that you need to do to establish a healthy life, you go to a health coach, somebody that can teach you how to design a lifestyle that's going to support you and actually work for what you are doing and want to achieve. Now, if that individual or if you and that individual decide to refer you out to an expert, somebody who specializes in a particular area, that makes sense. So for example, if you have a great financial base, you are out of debt, you had 3 to 6 months of expenses, and now you want to go ahead and invest in things such as real estate, you can go to a real estate specialist, right? So first and foremost, you need a coach. Secondly, you need to establish a board, or I would suggest establishing a board of expert personal advisors, people that you can reach out to for very specific things, right? So let's say a tax advisor, or somebody, if you for some reason want to be really, really fast, a sprint coach, or if you want to go ahead and train to do whatever it is, you can probably find someone who specializes in that area that will help you specifically with that particular skill. But most of us, I would say probably like 80, almost 90% of people in this world don't need that. What they need is to figure out how to design a lifestyle that provides them with a certain level of health that they can go ahead and live with. Finally, I would say community. So establishing and finding and creating a community of individuals that are like-minded in that they want the same thing that you want in life and challenge, support, and support you. All right. This is critical. We're social creatures, so we need that interaction, and choosing the people around us and in that community is critical to our growth and our success. So until I find a better name, CBC or better acronym, whatever, we need a coach, we need a board of expert advisors, and then a community that you can go ahead and plug into. So when I say cut the noise, now you know what I'm talking about. The noise in the world and the noise in your head. Minimizing that noise so that you can focus on 20% of the things that you need to do consistently to get you 80% of the results that you want. It is key. Finally, when I say design a life that you don't need a break from, I mean putting the CBC principles in place in your life so that you actually really don't need a break from your life, right? C, finding a coach that's going to help you in the specific area of life that you are struggling in, and working with that coach to create a plan for growth. B, creating a board of personal expert advisors that are there for you for specific problems. So they have a niche. They are really in deep. And then C, creating a community, consciously putting together a community of individuals that want the same thing that you want out of life, that will challenge and support you so that you can grow and actually create the lifestyle that you want. That's what I mean, and that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love discussing, and that's what drives me. So guys, if you're at all intrigued by anything I just said, or you are moved by anything I just said, you can find me at johnasari.com. Cut the Noise, my personal Instagram page, or Bear Report, my Instagram page for real estate activities. What I am doing is creating a community of individuals that want to design a life that they don't need a break from. I want you to join that community. And remember to cut the noise.